The President of the United States just said that a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. The President of the United States just said that a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. And no one is reacting.
Donald Trump, the pedo that the majority of white Americans voted for, has basically threatened to use a nuclear weapon against you.
Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us, you guys are the real MVP. So lovely. I came across this stitches about for you, and I thought to share where Americans are reacting to the latest air tweet by Orange Man, talking about how tonight the civilization will be unalive, and people are not actually having these statements likely. And lovelies, I was able to pull up some of those stitches. I'm just going to roll the clip as well as the stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. Alright lovelies, let's right into the stitches, and we are going to come back to talk about this whole civilization going to be unalive treated by Orange Man that got the whole of the social platform reacting. Alright lovelies, let's right into it.
93 million people may die tonight. Truman 3. Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are the children of the youth. This is not just Republican versus Democrat anymore. It is morality versus evil. And for those of you who keep asking why I don't like Trump, the answer is actually really easy. It's because I'm a Christian.
It's absolute madness.
Disturbing.
I agree with Trump. I like him.
I think the man's doing the right thing.
According to me, it's a war crime. Well, I'm part of civilization, and so are you. So is he, by the way.
There is no reason to wipe out civilization.
Well, I mean, I don't think a whole civilization is going to end, but I think he's exactly right that something needs to change.
Killing people and destroying a civilization is not the answer.
As far as I see it, Trump did the right thing.
It's disappointing to see that. I hope he changes his mind. It's very concerning to put the public in an alarming state.
Iran gets a nuke. Forget it. The world will go to hell.
Get over it. We got a country to save.
Donald Trump, the pedo that the majority of white Americans voted for, has basically threatened to use a nuclear weapon against Iran. This is the same country that Donald Trump himself illegally started a war with because, according to him, he doesn't want them to use a nuclear weapon. Yes, the jokes keep writing themselves at this point when you have a clown in fucking office. And his racist and brain-dead followers are going to continue to support him so that he and his families and his inner circle can continue to make billions of dollars off of this presidency, manipulate the markets, degrade our checks and balances while prices go up for everyone else. This is the cause of blatant racism and unchecked stupidity. And guess what? Congress and the Democrats, they're not going to do shit either, because more than half of them are paid off by the Israeli lobby, who are arm in arm with him, and the general American establishment, who are continuing to perpetuate all of this mess. These people pay off these politicians to vote for war, to vote for carnage, to vote for blatant propaganda, to spread lies, to keep us in a state of fear from threats that don't actually exist, to take away money from education, hospitals, healthcare, social security. These people are all paid off, and it's coming at the cost of the world and innocent people's lives, including us. This is what Americans do not realize. We are not isolated from the consequences of any of this mess. They're killing innocent people abroad, and they're killing innocent people here too. People cannot afford to go to the doctor. When there's no work, there's no unemployment. People are struggling. And it's because our government is siphoning our tax dollars and putting it in their pockets. Our politicians are paid off by lobbies who hate the American people. Wake the fuck up.
The President of the United States just said that a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. The President of the United States just said that a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. And no one is reacting. This speaks for itself. What the fuck is anyone even doing at this point? We have normalized genocide, total annihilation of entire people, the systematic destruction of the biosphere which we are all depending on to survive, and that corrupt, racist war criminals can act with complete impunity. But even though we have allowed far too much so far, it is not too late to say stop. If we don't, we shouldn't fucking be able to call ourselves human.
Happy Tuesday. Whatever that might mean for you. Today is April 7, 2026. I'm here to give you the updates surrounding the war with the United States. It's not real versus Iran. Let's get it. We are currently at the place in the timeline where every sane United States citizen is collectively asking the same question. Who Trump feeling like? No, really, who is Trump feeling like? And let me quickly remind you all of what this man, the United States president, stated on April 5th as today is April 7th, okay? Only 2 days ago. Listen.
If your children are watching, be warned, the president did not use polite language. Quote, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. We should note that destroying civilian power infrastructure is generally considered to constitute a war crime under international law, though the president could argue that the infrastructure has dual use and also is utilized by Iran's military.
And then after posting that, the president of the United States decides to extend the deadline of the ultimatum that he issued against Iran. Mind you, Iran officially rejected their ceasefire plan, so there's really nothing to extend. However, the president has extended the deadline to today, April 7th, 8 p.m. And what Trump states is the third and final deadline. He suggests that this is the final deadline, but we shall see, as we know that this man is a proven liar. He's a liar, so we gonna wait and see. So now the deadline for Iran to accept the ceasefire plan is extended, even though Iran had already officially rejected the ceasefire plan. So now the world waits to see if Trump is actually going to obliterate the entire civilization of the Iranian nation after 8 p.m. today. But see, with the restructuring of the military, the United States military, you understand, firing of 12 senior officials and over 30 generals rejecting, defying Trump's orders, how you going to get it done? The threats to obliterate and destroy the entire civilization of Iran. How are you going to get it done if you have no loyal military? How are you going to get it done? No military backing equals no retaliation. No following through of any threat of any kind. Not to mention, to follow through with the action of actually destroying the entire civilization of a nation is a war crime. It is a war crime. And if Trump actually figures out a way to fulfill that, considering you understand our military is not really working with him, understand that the judgment day that the United States will face, oh baby, is going to be a movie. But yeah, that's your update.
Hey, so Trump just said, and I quote, that a whole civilization will die tonight. So here's where we are right now. Trump is warning that tonight at 8 p.m. a whole civilization will go down in flames. That's 8 p.m. Eastern, okay? Unless they open up the Strait of Hormuz. And obviously this is not the only threat. He's been talking about taking out their power plants and their desalination plants and bridges and transportation hubs. This man is so fragile, he would literally put every Iranian civilian in danger with no heat, no electricity, no water, no way to flee. And I'll repeat it again, targeting civilian infrastructures is considered a war crime. And listen, Iran has already said that if anything happens, they are going to hit us where it hurts, our pockets, because they're going to stop any oil flow for years and years to come. And before you come here in my comments and come at me saying that, oh, the United States is, we export all this oil, we have bro, if that was the case, why aren't we just energy independent? Why aren't we just doing our own thing? Why aren't our gas prices 98 cents a gallon? So keep this in mind. If Trump is saying a civilization will die tonight, just remember the death toll across the Middle East has already surpassed 4,000 people, including more than 1,600 civilians and 13 U.S. service members that we know of. I think that number's way higher. I say maybe over 1,000. This is real. He's fucking with real people, okay? And no one's stopping. Everyone just thinks that this is the greatest thing ever. Oh, machismo, look at us. We're gonna destroy our country. Bro, this country's a goddamn joke. What say you? Do you think that Iran will actually blink by 8 p.m. tonight and come down with a deal? Do you think that Trump actually pulls through and does something? I mean, we have so many troops now in the region. Are we maybe seeing a ground war begin tonight? Hit me up in the comments and let's talk about it. Please make sure to share this video because we need to spread the message. This man is putting us as a whole in so much trouble.
I keep seeing leftists bring up this screenshot like it's some kind of gotcha to prove that Kamala Harris would have started a war with Iran just like Trump did. But this argument makes no sense in so many ways. First of all, Israel placed pressure on many past presidents to go to war with Iran, and none of them folded, except Trump. People don't remember that Netanyahu and Israel were also placing pressure on Joe Biden to start a war with Iran. Netanyahu wants war with Iran. Biden can prevent it. Past US presidents rejected Israel's push to strike Tehran, but Biden is falling into his trap. But he didn't fall into his trap. We went his whole administration without any war with Iran. Check the date, April 15th, 2024. 2.5 months later, what happened? Iran launched a missile attack on Israel. They wanted to respond with a full-scale war with Iran. Joe Biden told Netanyahu, "I'm out," if Israel retaliated for the Iran missile attack. Let's see the paragraph below. US President Joe Biden refused to support a significant Israeli response to Iran's massive missile and drone attack in April. If you launch a big attack on Iran, you're on your own. And then we fast forward to the 2024 election where Kamala Harris said she would rejoin the Iran agreement if she was elected. Not a war with Iran, not military operations and strikes, not bombing a school of 160 kids. Rejoin the Iran agreement. A diplomatic response, a diplomatic answer. And now we fast forward to today, where Donald Trump is president and now dragging us into a war with Iran, and Kamala Harris immediately called it out, immediately said it was a dangerous and terrible thing that Donald Trump has dragged the US into. You can pause to read the full statement, but Kamala Harris has been consistent. The administration that she was a part of has been consistent, and the leftists that campaigned against her and slandered her name with misinformation in her policies and what she would have done, those are the people that sold us down the river to a war with Iran. So thank a conservative and thank a leftist because they worked hand in hand to make this our reality.
So Iran just cut off all direct and indirect communications with the United States. This comes from the Wall Street Journal, and this is very dangerous. So without communications from either country, this opens up a door for them to make assumptions of what's going on. And so any minor error or misunderstanding could very well go into a more unattended full-scale war. And the communications were cut off right after Donald Trump threatened them with a genocide. Basically, a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. Also, this morning, Pete Hegseth was supposed to have a briefing at the Pentagon, but that got canceled last minute. And today, Trump gave Iran a deadline to open up the Strait of Hormuz, or they will basically bomb their power plants and bomb their bridges. And so with the Pentagon briefing being canceled this morning, and now all communications are completely cut off between the two countries, there is only one real reason, and I think it is because the tensions between the two countries are higher than what anyone expected. Basically, we're all screwed.
A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. One of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world, 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the people of Iran. He's essentially threatening to continue carpet bombing a country of 90 million people that is 2.5 times the size of Texas. This was never about freedom. This was never about saving people from the regime. This has always been about seizing resources in Iran. And if you were one of those people over the last couple of months, over the last couple of years that have manufactured consent
for this, whether directly or indirectly, you will be responsible for the casualties and death toll that happen. Right now, Iranian railways are being hit, apartment buildings are being hit, and their infrastructure and power plants are being hit. And Iran has been clear that they will not hold back and they will target different energy hubs within that particular.
It is absolutely wild for a US president to say a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. It's wild because the US can execute on that threat. It's wild because Trump says it probably will. We'll find out tonight. And it's wild because if you take his statement literally, he's talking about committing genocide. So he has to be bluffing, right? Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day all wrapped up in one. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell.
We have a plan, because of the power of our military, where every bridge in Iran will be decimated, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again.
That right there, we should all understand as the core of Trump's ultimatum, that what he sees as the death of a whole civilization is not just an attack on any one system, it's the methodical destruction of the connective tissue that links systems. Attacking power plants, energy, it's an attack on the fuel that drives everything else. Business, the military, hospitals. Attacking bridges isn't just infrastructure. It's crippling the ability to deliver weapons, medicine, food. When Trump threatens completely obliterating possibly all desalination plants, he's threatening the very drinking water of Iran itself. So this must be a bluff, because the intentional targeting of civilian infrastructure risks being prosecuted as a war crime. Because what Trump is threatening isn't just war on a regime, it's war on its people. And because Trump must know what he's yet to publicly acknowledge, which is the risk that crossing such a red line only further hardens the regime, creates a kind of strategic blowback that doesn't make the enemy give up, it makes the enemy an enemy for life. Trump, of course, will either know all of this or have been told all of this, and he's gambling that he's getting closer and closer to Iran's breaking point. But the one thing he may not know is where this breaking point actually is. And in a worst-case scenario, given the current state of things, whether Iran will ever stop calling his bluff.
Right now across America, people are sitting with a feeling they can't quite shake. It's not just political tension. It's not just another headline. It's something heavier, something that hits deeper than most expected. Because when Orange Man made the statement that a whole civilization will be unalive tonight, never to be brought back, it refers to what has been going on with him and the people of Iran. It didn't even sound like the usual political language people are used to hearing. It didn't sound like strategy or diplomacy. It sounded final, absolute, like something that belongs in the history book describing moments before catastrophe. Not in real time, not in the present, and that's why people are actually reacting the way at which they do. Some people immediately tied it to rationalized it. They said it was a negotiation act or a tactics, that this is how pressure works on the global stage. That sometimes leaders use extreme language to force outcome, to push opponents into backing down. And yes, there are Americans who actually believe that. They see it as strength, especially some group of MAGA supporters. They actually see it as strength. They see it as control. They believe it's part of a bigger plan that ordinary people might not fully understand. But then there is another side, billions of people who heard those words and felt something completely different. Not strength, not strategy, fear. Because when you say a whole civilization, you are not talking about a government anymore. You are talking about military target or political leaders. You are talking about people. You are talking about history, culture, identity, things that stretch back thousands of years. Iran is not just a country in a modern conflict. It represents one of the oldest continuous civilization on earth. So when when Americans actually heard that phrase, their mind didn't just go policy. They went to destruction on a scale that feels almost unimaginable, and that's where the discomfort began. People started talking and asking questions that don't have any answer anymore. What does that even mean in practical terms? What would they or what would that look like? How does something like that even happen in today's world? Because in an era where everything is documented, everything is seen in real time, the idea of wiping out an entire civilization doesn't just really sound extreme. It actually sounds like crossing a line, you know, or crossing a line of humanity. Agreed a long time ago should never be crossed. Even for the people who support tough foreign policy, there was a pause, a moment of hesitation, a quiet thought. Is this too far? Is Orange Man actually, taking all of these things happening too far? These are questions that keep on running in people's mind. The same time, there is another layer of distraction that can't be ignored. Where do you draw the line? Through years of rising global tension, conflict that seems distant at first but slowly cripple closer into everyday conversation. And so, when a statement like this is made, it doesn't exist in isolation. It connects to a larger fear that the world is becoming more unstable, more unpredictable, more fragile than people want to admit. You can see it in a way people were talking online, in conversation, in the tone of discussion, not just anger or debate, but genuine unease, the kind of unseen that comes from civilization or realizing how quickly things can escalate, how words can move from, to really faster than any expectation,
that are being caused
and then almost
controversies
just
like this.
as quickly as
Anyway,
the
love this
tension
one, I just
rises.
leave me your own thought in the
There was
comment
a
section
pause,
of
it
your
temporarily
think of
hurt.
video.
No immediate
If you can subscribe to
escalation,
this
no
channel,
instant
you're a huge favor
catastrophe.
to click on this
But instead of
subscription button.
relief, what
Like and I
lingered
will
was
see you love
something
this when I upload
else
the
entirely.
next one.
Awareness, because now people know how to close things can feel. They see how a single statement can shift the emotional state of an entire country. How is how it can actually make millions of people stop and think about worst case scenarios, not in theory, but as a real possibility. And that kind of awareness doesn't just disappear, it changes how people listen, it changes how they interpret future statements. It plants a seed of doubt or caution or even skepticism about where things are headed. Because if languages like this or like that can be used once, it can be used again, and each time it carries weight. There is also a deep conversation happening beneath the surface, one that goes beyond politics or personalities. It's about boundaries, about what should or shouldn't be said by those in position of power, about whether certain lines, especially when it comes to human life on a massive scale, should remain uncrossed. No matter the circumstances, some Americans believe those lines are already being blurred. Others think they're already being crossed. And then there are those who don't even know what to think anymore. They are just watching, waiting, trying to make sense of a world where statements like this can be made too openly, so directly and with such global implication. Because in the end, what people are reacting to isn't just one statement, it's what the sentence represents. The possibility, however distant or unlikely, that the world isn't as stable as it is. That decision made at the highest level can carry consequences far beyond what anyone can fully, predict. And maybe that's the part that hardens to sit with, not what happened but what could have happened. Because when you hear words like this, a whole civilization will die tonight, even if nothing follows, even if the moment passes, even if everything calms down, you don't just forget that you heard it. You don't forget how real it sounded, and you don't forget how far or brief moment it is. It made the future feel uncertain in a very way possible not to ignore. I think that is the reason why people are reacting the way at which they are reacting. Anyway, lovelies, wanna just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video, lovelies. If you've not subscribed to this channel, do your girl a huge favor to click on the subscription button, like, and I will see you lovelies when I upload. See you lovelies when I upload the next one.